All right, good afternoon, everybody. How we doing? All right. Really excited to be here. Just a little bit nervous. Randy keeps telling me not to be nervous. But I think it's just because I care about this industry so much. And I know that, this has just been a great conference so far, and hopefully we can add something to it. So my name's Chris Ward. I'm the energy procurement educator, is what I'm calling myself today, from Forward Energy Solutions. Thank you.
My name's Randy Roberts. I'm a garment care evangelist. And I'm from Columbus Express Laundry.
And what we're going to talk to you guys and gals about today is try to give you some successful sales strategies for whatever part of your business that you would like, but we want to focus on some commercial applications for you. I know many of you do both. Some of you focus on one or the other. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. And Randy and I have known each other for about 28 days now. We've had a couple of planning sessions to get through and try to put something together that's going to be educational, and hopefully you get something out of it. So we're going to try to go for about 45 minutes. At the end, we'll take some questions. Hopefully there'll be some questions, and we'll kind of go from there. Got it. Or I can do this, and then now it doesn't really matter which side we're on, right? Okay. No, so we have put together a few slides for you. I don't want to go too much. I'm not going to read the slides. We're going to have fun. We're going to be interactive. But we did want to give you a little bit of an agenda of what we're going to talk about today. So we're just going to give you a little bit of intro and a background on each of us. We're going to talk about some selling techniques that have worked for us in the past. We're going to give you some sales statistics. Also, we're going to kind of coach you on how to provide value to your customers. Randy is going to cover the what and how slide. Then we're going to talk about the language and how it matters to you and how you use it with your customers. We're going to give you some homework. I'm just kidding. A few action items, hopefully, that you can take away and put into plan with your business. Randy and I also figured out that we are big-time motivational quote people. So we're going to give you some of our favorite motivational quotes to kind of help you to, keep pushing on, keep pushing through, right? That's right. And then, like I said, we'll take a few questions and we'll kind of go from there. So without any further ado, let's see what's next on the, okay. So Randy, why don't you start us off, buddy?
See, now we're on the wrong side again.
Okay, here you go.
So my name's Randy Roberts. I come to this from a 32-year corporate sales career working for a Fortune 15 company. I'll let you talk about that Fortune 15 brand. My job was running both regional and national sales organizations that were third-party in nature. So we sold everything from uber small businesses, just like 1-2-person shops, all the way up to Global 100 brands. And my job, over that career, my role was come into a problem area within the business and create a solution to help that business become successful. So I built about 6 business units over the last 15 years of my corporate career. I retired at the age of 54 to never work harder. Okay?
All right. And my professional career started with that same Fortune 15 company, ironically. I worked for them for almost 10 years, and I was actually fired from that job. Actually turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me for a couple of reasons, but namely, it gave me an opportunity to change industries, and that's really what got me into the sales and business development kind of space. So very appreciative of that opportunity, but also appreciative of, having an additional opportunity. From there, I went to work for an executive search firm that was owned by a good friend of mine. I had no idea what I was doing. Honestly, I didn't really know why I was there other than that he gave me an opportunity, so there's that word again. But it really taught me how call on upper level management. It taught me how to talk to people. It taught me how to like get out of my comfort zone, really. And I think sales, that's a big part of sales, is getting out of your comfort zone, right? You gotta get uncomfortable to be comfortable. So.
We're good. We're good. So, some of the things I've done over I've got 3 years of experience in this industry, just to kind of put it out on the line. I've been in this for 3 years now. So we started our business in August of 2001. So with that being the case, we've made some very, very big bets. Some of those bets included taking a public laundromat facility. When it got too busy, we closed it to the public. We have bought a folding machine before we ever really needed it, because I could see in the future we weren't going to be able to handle volume that I wanted to drive this business toward without better enabling the team with a process to it. We went out and procured a injection system, okay? And if anyone's tried to do that for the size businesses we are, that took about a year before anybody would even talk to me. After that, we recently purchased a box truck because our customers were getting larger and larger and larger. We had to go out and buy hospital-style carts for some of these customers that we service. And lastly, we just procured a ironer. And that was kind of the nail in the coffin for our current location, because we physically could not fit it in that location. So we are underway right now in building a commercial facility out of a private warehouse. So we're well underway on that. So.
Awesome. And the way that I got affiliated with Coin Laundry Association was back in 2010. The first company that I worked for in the deregulated energy industry had an opportunity to work with one of the local affiliates back in the day. And here we are 14 and a half years later. Thank you, Brian, for the opportunity to work with CLA and collaborate with you guys and just show up and be here and try to make a difference for the laundromat industry. It's been one of the finest groups of folks I've ever worked with. I've known some of you for a while. I'm looking forward to meeting those that I haven't met, and it's just been a really, really good ride. So thanks for the opportunity to come here and talk to you all today. So without further ado, let's have a little bit of fun for a moment. One of my favorite movies is Dumb and Dumber. And I'm sure most of y'all have seen the movie. I'm sure most of y'all probably know what part this is. You know, 1 in 100, 1 in a million. But as a sales professional, there's not that many opportunities where a customer says, hey, by the way, why don't you call me back in 6 months? So when I saw this one, man, I just had to include it in the presentation because, man, that's like, as a sales professional, that's like the holy grail, right? Somebody asking you to call them back, it just doesn't happen. So hopefully y'all got a little bit of laugh out of that. Randy's a Dumb and Dumber fan too, so he allowed me to include that in our slide. So, all right, so let's talk a little bit about some selling techniques. I created a presentation recently kind of on relational selling, and there's about 9 or 10 techniques that I really focused on. So we decided to take 4 or 5 of those. But I do want to give a little shout out to Michael Angelo Caruso, who presented at Excellence last year in San Diego. Did a phenomenal performance on connecting on a personal level, customer service. My buddy Luke, who's in the audience, was one of the people that came on stage when he was doing his interactions with people, and it was just so well done. And so I just wanted to give him a shout out because to me, connecting on a personal level with your clients is paramount. You know, it may be a short interaction, it may be a long interaction, but if you can connect on a level, maybe they have a shirt on from the University of Alabama and you went to Alabama, or maybe they have a golf hat on and you're a golfer, so you have some common ground to connect with them on a personal level. Or maybe it's just a, hey, hello, how are you doing today? Welcome to my laundromat. These are some like really basic things that I think go a long way. So
Sales is a contact sport. Anybody that thinks you're gonna grow a commercial business and you're gonna do it by responding to RFPs, you're gonna do it by purely just answering a website and just supplying them with a basic level of service of what you do and a price, you're not gonna see significant success in this space. And I think there's some things you can do when those people come to you that will help differentiate you from everyone else. So we'll spend a little bit of time on that later on.
Yeah. Being a great listener. How many times have we gone to somebody's office, or how many times has a customer come into your laundromat, and before that customer can ask you something, you're saying, hey, we got 15 specials today, and I got soap in the back. And so I think it's really important to listen to your customer. Maybe they're saying, hey, where are your 20-pound machines? Where are your 40-pound machines? Where are your 60-pound machines? Or where are the dryers? Or where's your iron? So I just think it's super, super important to listen. And they're probably going to give you more than you want. But again, that's going to help you to kind of identify where to really target them and then how to continue to get them to come back, right? So being a great listener, super important.
So we have a practice problem as not only an industry, but as a sales organization in general. We like to practice on live opportunities. Meaning, if we've never done something before, we're gonna go wing it in front of the customer, and it's gonna go well or it's not gonna go well. So I've been doing this for a little bit. I mean, I started selling, I've worked on a used car lot when I was 16, washing cars. I wanted to sell them. I worked at a sporting goods store. I worked in a heat press. I needed to get away from that, so I learned how to sell. So those types of things are part of my nature. So I've been selling for 32 years. I have a trusted group of people that I reach out to. If I'm seeing something that I've not seen before, I'm reaching out to them and I'm saying, how have you done this? What was successful for you? What did you do to overcome this objection? And really what I'm doing is I'm doing it with them, so I'm practicing it before I get on the phone with others. Okay? I think that's important. I think it's bouncing it off your business partner. I think it's having a conversation with someone that's been there and done that before. So have that trusted group of people that you can work around that will help you figure out how to do this so you're not making mistakes when you're cutting your teeth on it.
Practice makes perfect, my friend. All righty. Being honest. This was one that we were not sure if we wanted to include, because you're probably thinking, wait a minute, be honest. Aren't you always honest? And I always find myself a lot when I'm talking to people, I'm saying, honestly. And they're like, well, if you're saying honestly, does that mean you're not being honest at other times? And so Randy and I had some back and forth on this.
He triggered me. I've used that word 4 times in the last day, which I am not proud of. So, and I've caught myself every time and noted it to the person I was talking to. So the people know who that was, and it's caught me. But when you say that, it puts you in a position where they're saying, what happened before? Were you really being, I won't use the other words that I'll use later, but were you being honest from the earlier? So what I think is most important in sales is building know, like, and trust relationships. So sitting behind the computer and waiting on the phone to ring or your web email to give you a form that says, hey, I want to do business with you, if they don't know who you are, you're never going to win. So what I always say is, and I go out and I go face to face and I pick up the phone and I call people, and these are just things I've done over time, so it feels second nature to me, and I understand that gives people a lot of agita. So what I always say, and we had this discussion, is if you're nervous on stage or you're nervous picking up the phone to call somebody, I've been kicked out of better places than here. I've been to better businesses than this one. I've been told no 1,000 times. I used to do training for sales organizations a long time ago, back in the early 2000s, and we were selling data networks. And if you heard yes 1 time a week, you were wildly successful. Mm-hmm. It's a different mentality, okay? You're not gonna hear yes every day. You've gotta be comfortable in that hearing no, and hearing no again, and hearing no again, and continue through it, because I'm not looking for no's, I'm looking for the one yes. And how many new customers are we picking up on a day-to-day basis? 1, 2, 3, residentially. How many times does the phone ring for a commercial customer? If it rings a few times a week, that's probably a pretty good week, right? Depending upon their size and scope. So practice with somebody else, figure out what your pitch is going to be, what the value is you're going to supply, and we'll talk about the values that you can, some of them, and then figure out, can they trust you at that point? So you're building know, like, and trust relationships. If they don't know who you are, they're never going to procure from you. If they like you, they don't have to like me and want to go out and golf with me or anything like that, but they have to like what I have to say. They have to respect what I'm doing as a business, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how you can do that as well. So.
Yeah, just to touch on that a little bit, I always tell people that you should go after people that you know, right? Or that like you. So you just said it all right there. Because people do business with the people that they want to do business with. So if they can find some common ground, if they can, feel that connection, if they can feel that the trust, you're off to the races. All right, being patient during the sales cycle. How many of us like being patient? I don't see a lot of hands. That's probably one of the toughest things that we have to do as humans is be patient and wait and, be okay with that. It's really hard. I can give you a couple of examples in my career where I've met somebody and we were able to help them within a month, and I can give you another example where I met somebody the first time I went to a CLA meeting in November of 2010, and guess when I earned his business? In December of 2022. So it's a couple of years, right? And it wasn't like I was pounding him or calling him all the time. It was just seeing him at events. It was talking to him. And honestly, there it is again.
My trigger word.
I was honest with him because what he had in place was a fantastic deal and it was a fantastic contract. And I told him I wouldn't change anything. I would just leave it. And honestly, what I told him was, every 6 months, let's take a look. And just one of those times, it just happened to work out. So being patient is super, super important. So I know I've said that on every one of the points so far, but it's all important because it all works together.
So be like a doctor. And what I mean when I say that is, your job is to find out what the customer's pain points are. If I'm pitching price and they're pitching and they're needing service, then I've missed the mark. So if they don't like their current invoicing and you're pitching that you've got a stain treatment, right? I went to buy a car one time and I went to buy it and I went to the Toyota dealership and they said, well, the only difference between this and a Lexus is the Lexus has more safety features, it has better sound deadening, and it has it's a more luxurious interior. And so all I did was turn around, walk off. He didn't know my buying criteria. You've got to find out the buying criteria from your customer to ensure that you're meeting their needs. I've had some customers, their biggest complaint was the invoice. So I went and I brought an invoice to the next meeting and I said, if I invoice you in this way, would that be better than the way you're doing it today? And this was a uniform company and they had individual line items for every garment that was being washed, and the accounts payable department hated it. So all I did was say, I'm going to give you one invoice. We're going to give you up to 400 uniforms a week. And guess what? It's going to have one price every week. That was the end of the conversation. So find out what's making them sick. Find out what's, just like when you go to the doctor, and work towards making them better in those areas. And if you do that, you're going to have a wildly successful relationship.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Creating a customer win in capital letters. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about the customer, right? We're not in business if we don't have our customers. So again, it just takes us doing whatever it takes to make sure they're happy, to keep them coming back. And I think, a couple of the points that we've talked about, and I can give you a whole bunch more. Hopefully we'll be able to chat a little bit after the presentation, but really at the end of the day, creating the customer win. Maybe not the most important selling technique, but all the techniques kind of go together to make that happen. So
I tell the team to build for chips on the table. So think about playing a game of poker. When you've got 100 chips on the table, you're sitting there, you feel pretty good about yourself. If you make a mistake, that customer's going to take 2 or 3 chips on the table, and you've got to earn those back, right? If you do something bad enough, maybe they'll take 5 chips. If you really mess up, they'll take 10. It takes longer to get those 10 chips back once you've made those mistakes. So you've got to, the team on our end knows we've got to build those chips up above 100 so that when we do make a mistake, because we're all human, that we've got chips on the table that we can recover from and maintain that customer relationship. So you've got to really work to build those chips on the table throughout the sales process, throughout the execution of servicing that customer, throughout the billing process. And you do that through a relationship, right? Because if they don't know, like, and trust you, they're going to be questioning everything you do.
All right, so this next slide, I was a little hesitant to use it just because of some of the data that I saw online about it. But what I think it does is it really drives home the point about how persistent you have to be, and we're going to definitely talk about persistence a little bit later. But this is our sales statistics, it's a hard word, slide. And I'm not going to read every line to you, but what I want you to do is I want you to focus on line 4, and I want you to focus on line 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So basically what it says is only 10% of salespeople, so you guys are in sales, right, even though you're not a traditional salesperson, make more than 3 contacts. So obviously we're talking about commercial accounts today, and like Randy said, the Holiday Inn down the street's not going to call you up and say, hey, can you do my laundry for me? But then if you translate that 10% only make 3, and that 80% of sales happen on the 5th to 12th contact, there's a little bit of a gap there, right? I mean, it makes a lot of sense, but I think what the part that I'm trying to, and Randy and I are trying to drive home here, is it's going to take time. So kind of going back to the being patient during the sales cycle. Very, very, very important. How bad do you want that account, right? I'll just reference Luke again because I know that he goes into laundromats all the time, and he said he just keeps going in until they say yes. So it works, right? If you get in front of somebody enough times, they will say yes at some point. It will happen. So, and Brian just gave me the thing with me because he gave me the keys to the kingdom about 6 years ago, and it was after 8 years of back and forth and back and forth. So I just thought that was pretty interesting, how many don't even go to 3. And I've seen it. I've worked on sales teams. I've worked on sales forces. People are like, oh, once or twice, they didn't call me back. I'm not gonna keep going. And I will never stop calling somebody until they tell me not to. Or I will never stop going to somebody's location until they tell me to stop. So, all right. Providing value. Randy, lead us off here.
So I'm going to start with the customer experience, proactive. You know, the most important thing you do is make it personal. Business is personal. People buy from people. If anyone believes that they don't buy our brand, they buy our brand because of our company name. They stay with our brand because of me, because of our team, because of what we do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis for them in support of them. So you've got to really make this personal. And how you do that is by communicating with them. So I'll talk a little bit about that here in just a little bit.
Okay, and the reactive side or the customer support side, you know, we think that being available, probably one of the most important things you can do for your customer, right? When they walk in that door, if they've got 3 bags of laundry and you go get them a cart, that's being available, right? That's customer support. You're helping them get to a machine or machines, right? Which is what you want. You want people coming in, filling up your machines, and getting those machines turning. So, you know, time is a gift, really. And it's important that we give our time to our customers.
So on the proactive side, continue to provide support after the call. So when we win a customer, when we finally get to that point, and that's a tough job, right? You've got to get there. You've got to convince them of your value proposition, what differentiates you from everyone else, and then you get that business. A lot of people think, hey, it's won, it's over, okay? No, what I tell our customers is I'm going to over-communicate with you early. You're going to hear from me so much, you're going to get sick of me. And I tell them that, okay? And I am at that location, I am there checking and inspecting the things going in and out. I'm doing it on the weekends so that if somebody's there, they're going to see me. I'm having a communication with the customer saying, hey, did you see this? We noticed that. okay? So that you're providing a proactive support resource, and as you're doing that, you're building that know, like, and trust relationship. Because well, I keep going to, you got to give me a minute here. I've got something I really want to share, but I got to keep holding it.
All right. Being reliable, right? Reliable and available definitely go together, but they're definitely two different things. You know, you can be available, but can you be reliable? And, you know, I think that's one of the things we pride ourselves on at our company is being reliable, just so they know that they're getting a solid service, right? Or a solid place to do their laundry, or a solid pickup and delivery from y'all, or hey, I'm sending 10,000 pounds of laundry to you. I want to make sure I get that 10,000 pounds back and it's the way I want it, right?
So provide incremental value, and that can be, I can do the same thing each and every one of you are doing. I can wash something, maybe I can pre-stain treat it, I can dry it, I can fold it, and I can send it back to them. What are the incremental value things that we can do as a customer? So if you don't tell the customer you're doing these things, they don't know. So the title said Garment Care Evangelist. It didn't say Wash, Dry, Fold Evangelist. And there's a reason that I said that, because I think we're using the wrong term in this industry. I think we're calling it Wash, Dry, Fold. I don't think we should call it that. I think we should call it garment care. I think we should call it a towel care program, a linen care program, something that's different than what everybody else is out there doing.
All right.
And just to be clear, I might have stole that terminology from somebody that's in this room, but the net is I truly believe that, okay? I believe we've got to quit calling it wash, dry, fold, because that's what everybody's doing, okay? So let me give you an example of some extra value that we supply. We separate stain from damaged items upon returning them. How much time does that take to do? If you see a stain on it, put it to the side, put it in a bag, and put an X on it. If something's damaged, put it in a different bag. Put damaged on it so that they know they have to replace their inventory. For our larger customers, we'll tell them how many stained and damaged items they had. We'll give them a list of those at the end of the month so that they know, hey, this is your inventory, this is what you're down, you're gonna have to place an order, okay? And those are relatively small steps. And we built the process so it's the same for everyone. We do the same things for all of our commercial customers. We had a large customer come to us and said, what if I don't want you to do the stain treatment? The question was, what percentage of your clients do your pre-stain treatment? I said, I can only think of one that doesn't. Well, I said that because I wanted them to think that they want to be number 2 in that, right? And they wanted to do it because they wanted to save a couple pennies on the price. And it wasn't going to save them the money, it was going to cost them money on the tail end. Mm-hmm. I'll give you another example of something we do here to supply value. And somebody mentioned it, I don't know if Kelly Reed mentioned it earlier today, but we do kitting. So I call it staging and or kitting. And what we do is we take the items, we wash, dry, and fold them, right? See, I use that term. We do garment care for them, right? But what we're ultimately doing is we're going to package those items in the end and we're going to put like items together, okay? For this customer, they're large enough, we go and put them in a room and they store them until they need them. And they decided, I was talking with them and I said, well, you've got all these things, what do you do when they're in the room? And they said, well, we've got somebody taking them and putting them into a package that they can hand to somebody and take and put in this room, this resident place, okay? And so I said, well, how about if we kit those for you? And then they said, okay, how much is that? So what did I do? I have no idea how much it is. We've never done this before. I picked up the phone and I called people and I said, what do you think? What do you think? My business partner and cousin, he's sitting there and he said, go higher, go higher, go higher. Kent is my no guy. Kent always tells me no, and I do not know the word no. It's an outside joke now, but every time I ask him a question, he said, no, don't do that. And I said, but I'm gonna learn from this. So I try all kinds of crazy things, and my cousin just says, go do it. And I call him the CF no as a joke, but he's never said no in his life to me in our business partnership. So it's been fabulous.
All right, another part of providing good support is acknowledging your customer's concern or a problem that they have. It may be a situation where one of your employees did something. Look, you can apologize for it. You can take ownership of it. And I'm telling you, those words right there to a customer, it's gold. Because if you're honest and you're truthful and you're willing to take responsibility for your actions, that goes a long way. And I promise you, you'll have a customer for life. Promise you. Oh, I got one more. Clarify before you attempt to resolve. I guess I kind of touched on that a little bit, but just make sure you understand what the issue is. You know, there's always 3 sides to every story is what I say, right? There's the customer side, there's your employee side, and then there's probably the truth. So very important to identify what the issue is. But look, at the end of the day, the customer is always right. Look, we got to make it right. Do we want to keep them as a customer, or do we want to be right? In my opinion, I want to keep my customers. Because for us, that's what we've prided ourselves on is retention. So, all right. Randy's going to take this slide all by himself.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the what and the how. So what are you trying to do here? So differentiate yourself from everyone else there. So separating stain and damaged items like we've talked about, kitting, offering a reclaim cycle. So we have a lot of our commercial customers that we do where we will offer a reclaim cycle to everyone. And what is that? So if there are stained items, we offer to hold those items. We will keep them back, and when we get enough of them, we will run them through a heavier wash cycle. We charge them the exact same amount again, so that's the benefit to them. We're using more chemical because they're such a good customer. I'm going to do it for the same price, okay? And then I'm going to return it to them. And then what I also do as part of that is I will tell them, I know once we have a stained item, what percentage of it we're going to be able to save based upon history. And so I communicate to them, we've been able to save 50, 60, 70% of those items, and here's the value to you, okay? It would have cost you $200 to buy those linens again. So you're going to save that money because of that reclamation cycle that we do. So then solve for the customer's biggest problem or fear, and we've spent a little bit of time on that, but determine the solution to sell. So if invoicing is a problem, solve to that. If staining is a problem, solve to that. If kitting, if they want somebody to take some work off their end, again, we charge a fee to supply garment care. I'm going to watch my language here. And then we supply a fee to them for the staging and kitting of these items. So it's a stacked service. So I think that increases your margin, and all you're doing is taking everything and putting them in a different bag. Is it really that much more work? It's really not. So, and then create a push versus pull products. So we focus on garment care, and that includes dry cleaning and traditional washing and drying of products. So we do not push dry cleaning. I'm trying to think of the way to say this because I'm up on this stage. We have a spend of over $100,000 on dry cleaning. That's our cost, and we mark it up. Okay, that's our cost on the product. We don't push it. It completes a solution for the customer. And to be direct with you, there we go, to be direct with you, we don't really even want it residentially. We do it. We've taken it on our website. We've moved it to the bottom because I don't want it to be found. I don't want residential customers to pick up the phone and call me because I don't want to chase 20-pound bags. I want to chase 200-pound bags. So, and the last one here is sell and serve. So sell and tell. You need to over-communicate. You need to make sure they know what you're doing and how you're doing it, because if they don't know what you're doing, they assume you're doing nothing. Mm-hmm. That's the last place you want to be. And that's why I always tell them, I'm going to over-communicate with you early. So we have a relatively large customer that we just won here maybe 3 or 4 months ago. We bought a box truck for it. We bought large laundry carts for it. So, and this customer, about a week ago, I said, hey, you know, I haven't been around as much, right? We haven't been communicating. I told you I was going to over-communicate early, and then I was going to back off a little bit. You were going to hear from me less. And he said, hey, I can't wait to see you the next time. You're in. So that's what you want them to feel comfortable that you've got a command over what's going on and that you're their advocate, you're working on their behalf. And when you do so, they're going to stick by you.
Great points, man. Great points.
So the next one is language matters. When you're calling out to customers, there's language. Some language is stronger than others. So if I call you and I say, hey, I was just checking in to see if you wanted to buy that from me, or if I'm just checking in because I wanted to see if you reviewed the proposal I sent you. So that language is not as strong as promised, I'm following up with you in regards to A, B, or C, right? It feels much, I'm keeping that commitment I made to you by following up with you, right? So, and then this is the word you triggered me on, so trust me or to be honest. Instead, use be transparent, be direct, to be candid. Because in my world, when I hear the word honest, I'm trying to figure out, well, were they honest with me before? You don't want the customer thinking with that mind thought process, that might be a better way to say it. So the cost will be, instead use the investment will be. The investment in your garments that we're caring for will be this. Change the term price to value. The value of this service is X. So change the customer's perspective on what and how you're doing things for them so that they believe in that value. They believe in what you're doing for them. It's not just wash, dry, fold. You're an extension of them. You're in partnership with them and caring for a significant investment that they have made.
Excellent. And just the one point that I wanted to add in here, even though my business is a little bit different than your business, is when I write an email or I call a customer or I text a customer, I usually start it off with some type of salutation. Hey, how are you doing? How's your family? If I know their children, if I play golf with them. I know the golf thing keeps coming up. You guys know me pretty well. But no, seriously, I just think that, I don't know why, and it takes a little bit extra time, I know that, but I just feel like you kind of bring the guard down. If you're personal, and I think it fits really well in here with the language matters. So I always, every email, and people are like, God, you really do that on every email? And I'm like, yes, I do. It's just the way it goes. So just a little tip. And next. All right, homework time. Action items and takeaways time.
So I'm going to cover the business side of this. So work to create and maintain your business. And what I mean when I say that is you need to be taking actions, building plans, building what your target is, where you want to be in X amount of time, okay? And then measure yourself against that. And when you're early in this, it might be a little bit difficult to do. At the end of each year, I have a review with my cousin, and we go through where we've been. And then we talk about where we think we're going to go, where we want to go, or what we want to do in the next year. And we cover that on an annual basis, and the goal is to ensure that we're both in lockstep on the direction that we want to take the business.
All right, I think this term fits in pretty well with myself. Network, network, network. Show up to Wash, Dry, Fold, go to Excellence in Laundry, go to the Clean Show, go to CLA Connect Live events, and then translate that into your local community, Chamber of Commerce, go to organizations or professional organizations of businesses that you want to achieve, right? What type of accounts are you wanting? Is it hotels? Is it restaurants? Is it med spas? I heard a lot of great examples earlier this morning. Nail salons, you name it, golf courses, right? There's the possibilities are endless. So one of the things I was told early on is kind of focus on the type of business that you want and go after it.
So the next one's part of the secret, right? You don't want to be hunting for fish in the ocean. And hunting for commercial business compared to residential, it's hunting for whales in the ocean. It's a different process. It's a different sales cycle. It's a different expectation between you and the customer. So what are your SEO strategies? What are your Google ad strategies? What's your target market? Where do you want to be? What's your sweet spot? And how do you target that market differently? So if I want to go target Airbnbs, what am I going to do to go do that successfully? How am I going to differentiate what I'm going to do? So we have an Airbnb program. The Airbnb program, we pick up on a certain day, we deliver it 2 days later. We pick up on that day, we deliver it 2 days later. Every time we're at that customer's premise, we pick it up. We actually advise them on how to stage their items so that we can pick them up effectively. If they're at a single location, we will advise them we think it's wise to get an external storage shed, like you put your cushions in. Put a combination lock on it, we'll take them out of it, you can put them in it. So I'm not just supplying the service, I'm advising them on what the best practices are that I've seen others use so that they can become more efficient and effective as a business.
All right, I'm gonna find your lane, kind of was in my last point, find those businesses that you wanna go after and go after them. And then I'm going to seek out a mentor and look for subject matter experts in the same one. Hello. You have plenty of mentor opportunities as well as subject matter expert opportunities today, tomorrow, and Ron. You have Brian Wallace. You have the people of CLA. You have the folks, your distributors, right? You have your companies that have helped you with the construction of your laundromats. I mean, the possibilities are endless. So it's right there in front of you.
So follow up and follow through. If you say you're going to do something, obviously get it done. Too many people give up before the battle is won or lost. So I lose deals every day. I win deals every day. And what I'm trying to do is make sure that with that connection with the customer, my win rate is improving time over time. And I think you can do that just using some of these, what I think are foundational techniques to help you grow your business in this space.
All right, I'm going to take the last two on my side. Coach to people's strengths, hire for will, and not always skill. Yeah, so you need to be looking for what you want in an employee, right? I mean, it might look good in the beginning and it might not end good in the end, but I think the one thing that I'm always looking for when I'm hiring people is the willingness. And kind of talk about that. And so I was told years ago there's three types of people. There's willing, able, and willing and able. Okay? The willing and able, you can do something with that. An able person that's not willing, it's going to be an uphill battle. So
and the last one on mine, I've seen this too many times over the years, is sending out a DOA proposal. I got a request via the web, and I'm going to send out a proposal. The customer doesn't know me, they don't like me, they don't trust me, they're wanting a price. And if you want to drive the market in the wrong direction, supplying a price only without supplying value is what's really going to drive the direction for your business.
Awesome. All right, I was just told we have 5 minutes, so we've gone way longer than we thought we would.
Yeah, we started a lot late.
All right. Why don't you roll through your quotes, and then I'll go through mine, and then we can get to
the first one I've been trying not to say, but if you do, I've got to it and I stopped on it multiple times. So if you do everything right and nobody knows that you're doing it wrong. If you do everything right for the customer and the customer has no idea what you're doing for them, you are doing it wrong. So provide stewardship for them, telling what you're doing for them, check in with them early in the process. Once you've built that know, like, and trust, you don't have to do those things as much. Those are powerful retention tools. Do you want me to go through all?
Yeah, go.
Okay. So second one here is there's two types of people in the world, and I said this at the end of sales meetings my entire career. There are two types of people in the world. There are order takers and there are order makers. And which one am I? And obviously I can flip that back around. Which one are you? Right? So success is not fatal. Failure is not final. It's courage. It's the courage that continue that counts. Right? Building a business like this is not easy. It's not for everyone. It's very, very challenging. And then the last one is it's obviously this person's talking about me, but you think you can hurt my feelings? You can't. I really don't have any feelings. I just want to get better. And I believe that. So I always am receptive to constructive criticism, and I try and supply it. When I'm supplying it to others, I try and use a coaching sandwich. Does anybody know what a coaching sandwich is? Hey, you really did this good. Here's an area I want you to work on. I'm really proud to have you on our team. That's a coaching sandwich, right? So make sure they get the value that they're supplying to you, make sure they understand the opportunity for growth, and then make sure you've left them with a feeling of positivity towards your organization. If you do that, you're going to be wildly successful.
And hopefully everybody's on their way out with a coaching sandwich after this session. All right. All right, my absolute positive favorite quote, persistence wears out resistance. It's pretty simple. But there's one key factor that I want to share with you that has been successful for me. We don't want to be too persistent. We don't want to be following up every day or going into that location every day or every other day. So you need to figure out two things. You need to figure out how your customer wants to be communicated with. Phone call, text message, email, LinkedIn message, Facebook message, Instagram message. I know I left several out. I feel like I'm fairly up in the digital world, but I may have left out TikTok and a few others. But anyways, it's really important to figure out how to contact them. how to communicate with them, and to do it, I call it politely persistent. So maybe every 3 or 4 days, or maybe every 5 or 6 days, you can kind of get that feeling when you approach that person. You know, they'll be shut off. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, sure, come on in. So anyways, persistence, where's that resistance? In order to become the 1%, you must do what the other 99 won't. Pretty straightforward, right? No substitute for hard work. Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. So that one kind of goes along with, in sales, a no means not right now. A no means on. You can flip it around. You know, so, you know, timing, like I said, being persistent, being polite, listening, all these things that we've talked about today, very, very important. And then this is, I was struggling for my last one. I had some really good ones, and my wife gave me this thing for my desk, and every day it has a different quote. And so I was kind of going through some, and this one popped up 3 days ago. So the best advertising you can have is a loyal customer spreading the word about how incredible your business is, right? I see a lot of heads shaking. I mean, I got chills when I said that. I don't know why. I'm kind of weird. I'm kind of a nerd, kind of, you know. But I'm really passionate about building relationships, selling. And so this has been a really fun exercise for Randy and I, and we hope you've gotten something out of it. So we're at the end of the program. Thank you guys so much.
Do you want to take a couple questions?
Glad to take questions as long as you want to give us. So we understand
We'll
we want
take just a couple,
Yep.
because I don't want to.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wait.
Right here in
Mika's
front.
up
Mika.
there so everyone can hear it.
Right behind you there.
Oh,
Yep.
Thank you, thank you. So we have been doing the wash and fold and pickup and delivery for about a year. So we have been doing some advertising, and myself, I do a lot of cold calling. I call to the point that some businesses, they even recognize my voice, and they say, "Oh, May's Laundromat, I told you last week we don't need your service. we have the laundry in house."
Okay.
But my question to you is, how do you pass that person who is answering the call? How do you get hold of the person who has the authority?
I'm going to take that one. So I've trained on a lot of cold calling, prospecting. I ran a call center for probably 10 years. We built it from 0 to 75 people and generate about $500,000 a month in revenue. So it's a big business that we built. So there's ways to get around gatekeepers. First of all, gatekeeper has to be your friend. Did you know that person's name when you called them? No,
Okay.
That's
good. That's good.
But you're qualifying.
You're
and
making
I'm not, I
progress.
don't want you to feel like I'm coming at you, but I'm saying, if you don't know their name, do they know who you are? Do they like you? Their job is to keep you out, right? So there's many ways to get around a gatekeeper. So we can spend hours on this alone, but there are ways to get around it. Number one is play dumb. Hey, I can't believe I don't know who the right person is here. I've got to update our records. Can you please tell me who takes care of housekeeping, or who takes care of your laundry service, or make them your friend, okay? The other way is be direct. Okay, hi, this is Randy. I'm calling for Sally. Well, there's no Sally here. Oh, my name must be wrong. Can you tell me who does this? Thank you. When I say thank you, I'm putting the pressure back on you. Now, you have to either give me what I'm asking for or push back again. So, Randy what? Randy, oh, I'm Randy. I'm Randy. They say, Randy calling from. I say, oh, I'm Randy calling from Columbus Express Laundry. No, that's not what I asked. I asked what your name was. Oh, I'm sorry. I know what you asked me. You asked me what my last name was, right? I gave you the name of the business instead, right? Or you could flip it around. Who are you calling from? Well, Randy Roberts, right? So I'm telling you my name. Thank you. I'm going to let you put me through now. Another way you can do it, and this is, there's some advanced techniques, but a simple one is you call and say, I want accounts payable, accounts receivable. They want to get rid of that call as soon as they can, right? So, boom, I'm through. Accounts receivable, accounts payable, they're not a gatekeeper. They're not trying to keep you away, right? They're going to get you to who do you want to get to. Does that make sense? Is that helpful? There are many ways to get through, and you're not going to get through all of them, okay? But there's a few techniques you can use to get around a gatekeeper. Befriend them, number one. Go around them, number two. Look for a different department, okay? And then ask for the right contact if you don't know it. But I try and make gatekeepers my friend. I want to know who they are. I want to remember their name. I write down their name as soon as I hear it, because I'm going to use it next time. Even if they don't answer the phone and I call and say, "Hi, Sally, this is Randy." No, Sally's not here. This is Jane. Okay? You've got instant credibility. You want that instant credibility on the phone. Does that help? Does that help you at all?
If I may, some of the techniques that I've used are show up at that person's office with bagels, coffee, candy. I mean, maybe you may know something that they like. And then when you're there, try to survey their desk. See if they have kids, see if they have dogs, see if they have pictures of hunting or whatever it might be. Those are some of the things that will kind of, like Randy said, connecting to that person, that's your #1 job when they keep telling you no. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Any other questions? Oh, they're letting us off easy, man. Oh, here we go.
Hi, question for both of you. So, Chris, I'll start with you. You mentioned kind of communicating through the channel that the customer is contacting you. So, someone texts me, I text them back, email, so forth. But to Randy, that's led to a lot of DOA proposals. So, someone texts me, calls me, emails me, "Hey, I'm looking for a towel service for XYZ service, shopping around, send me a quote." So maybe they send me an email, okay, I send them a quote.
If you're not having a conversation, you're just setting them a price. What do they need? What's their buying criteria? So my suggestion is don't just send out a proposal. I do not send out proposals without talking to people. I piloted it once this year because I was talking with somebody and they were doing it, and I said, let me just see if I can do it. I did it one time this year.
So if you did get an email that said, "Hey, I want a quote for XYZ," you wouldn't email them back. You'd pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I'm Randy.
100%.
What's your name? What's your needs?"
100%.
Yeah, just to add a little something in there, I'm actually working on a huge national client right now, and they sent me all the data, and I went through it, and I put together a plan, and then they came back to me, and because he talked to his boss or manager, and they said, "Oh, we're thinking about putting out an RFQ in 7 months." Little do they know, they have contracts all over the place. They have commitments. And so just to Randy's point, like, I'm trying to work with them. It's not dead yet. I may have to put an RFQ in February of 25. But what I'm trying to do is I'm going to be taking this guy out to play golf to try to get to know him, to really get into the office so I can kind of keep stepping in there to tell him, hey, I can do this better than y'all are doing it. But you got to get to that point of where they trust you enough to do that. So, any other questions? Oh, yes.
All right, last question.
That's the last one again, Dave.
David.
Apparently, I'm the designated last question asker. So this has been a master class in what I would refer to as outside sales. Obviously, that's what you guys do, and you guys are awesome at it. What would you say to someone? I think it's safe to say that most laundromat owners, that's not their skill set. These tips are helpful for sure, but they're probably never going to be Randy and Chris, right? What would you say to people that want to go after commercial accounts, but either don't have the time, because a lot of laundromat owners are just spending 60 hours a week in their stores fixing washers and collecting, that kind of stuff, or they don't have the skill set and the comfort level for that. And I know, Randy, you're used to training sales teams, so like you're talking to people that are learning how to do this.
Yeah, 100%.
I'll stop there. I think you understand the question.
It's a great question. I'll handle this, Chris. Yeah. So, great question. Appreciate it, Dave. You are the designated last question answer for the last couple of sessions. So, here's my position on this. As I said, I want to hunt for fish in the barrel, okay? How many outbound calls am I making today? And the answer is, right now, I can't make any because we really can't grow the business, so we're fielding inbound only. So to find those fish in the barrel, you've got to figure out how you market to those customers, how you get them to find you so that you're not in outside sales, you're in inbound sales. And the way you do that, I think I said it earlier, but SEO. So what you're doing with your search engine optimization. How are you targeting those customers in a vertical or horizontal fashion? So what are the things that you're doing to get found when they have a need, because if you're out there trying to find a need, it's much tougher, okay? I had a customer that was in a facility, it's the equivalent of a Airbnb, but they're all located at the same time, and they were putting in a new one, and I knew it, and I was in the car, and I called them, and I left them a message. I'm like, that's never going to go anywhere. They called me back 15 minutes later and said, it's this person. They called me back, okay? And I said, this is what we do. This is what we like to do. We do it with other people that are very similar to you, and then I sent them a kind of a one-pager that just says, these are some of the things we do. Well, 6 months later, they completed that facility, and I get a phone call from somebody else in the business. How did I get that? Through our web marketing, right? So if you don't want to be in the business of going out and getting kicked in the teeth every day, and that's some of what sales is, right? You're hearing no a whole bunch of times every day. So what you have to do is be better on the marketing side so that they find you in ways that you want to be found. You may not want to do bar moms, okay? Some people like them, some people don't. That's dirty, nasty work. If you don't want to do that, then stay away from those. But find a niche that you would like to stay in and then work that niche. And I'm going to tell you, the outbound side of it, finding new customers, making sure that they're aware of who you are so that when they are ready to do something, they know who you are. There's significant value in that. And that's not a one-call sale. It's a one-call awareness. It's a touching base. 3 months later, it is a direct, it's a more direct marketing type effort. But in today's world, I've done some of that, but it's been less than probably 10% of my work at any given time. It's not a significant amount of it. There's too many other things to work on. And I think that really is more of what you're kind of speaking to, Dave. We're business owners. We're not salespeople, right? So how do we get those people to us? And I think those are a few ways that you can do that effectively, but I think it's just as important to get your name out there in front of those potential customers. If it's a brochure, if it's a business card, there are things you can do without being a salesperson to raise awareness within the community. Did I hit the mark? Did I miss it totally? Thanks, Dave.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Thank you very much for letting us do this here. Appreciate it. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to talk about it. I love to talk about sales, as you might be able to tell. That's something that I feel like is in my wheelhouse. So thank you again for the time.
Absolutely. Thank you all.